Hey everybody, I'm Nat Steinhoff, Casper real estate agent, and I'm here with Ben.
Ben Winckler, Ben Winckler Photography. Friends call me Benji.
Benji it is. Benji, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I'm excited.
So you just came back from Hawaii.
I did, yep.
Tell me about it.
We went up there for a trail race. It's called Hurt 100.
Okay.
And it's said to be one of the hardest trail races in the world, if not the hardest, just because of all the tree root systems and everything up there.
Very cool.
But yeah, first time ever being in Hawaii. The weather was perfect. Talking to locals, with it being so close to the equator, it's like 80 degrees all year.
Sure.
So that was pretty cool.
Who were you there with?
Justin Kinner was running the race.
Oh.
We were there with his mom.
Okay.
And then another running friend, John Trongard. John and I paced him. So after 60 miles of a ultra race, a 100-mile race, you can pick up a pacer. Okay. And the pacer's there to keep you smiling, keep you going, give you hope.
Relief. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And because after you've been running that long by yourself, it's nice just to have company and motivation and laughs. So
very cool.
Yeah.
And so I can't see the logo right now because your bill's flipped. Tell me about.
So this is it was a gift to the Kinner family. They have a family crest. Every race Justin runs, he wears his family crest on his backpack. Cool. And so we had Scarlet Verity make this logo out of his crest, and we put it on the hat and a pullover for him. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk with you about the running scene in Casper today. But before we get there, have you been to Wyoming 307? 307 Exotics downtown.
No.
Have you heard of 307 Exotics?
No.
What would you guess 307 Exotics is? If I was to put you on the spot. Someone said, hey, you want to go to 307 Exotics, what would you think it is?
I guess it depends on what rating it is, but like, I'm thinking cars.
Okay. My first thought was some sort of like head shop. Like they sold like exotic strains of like CBD oil or something. Yeah. Okay, well it's not.
Okay.
They sell exotic foods.
Oh, okay.
So it's like stuff from all over the world. I have these 2 packages of jelly beans that are called tongue bombs. And in each package are 6 jelly beans, one of which is habanero.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really hot. So there are 2 ways 3 things we could do. One is we just put these over here on the Wild Gear cooler and you can take them with you when you leave.
Okay.
Option 2, we split up 1 package. And over the course of us talking today, we each like do a little Russian roulette, try one.
To see who gets the habanero.
To see who gets it. We could each take a package and play Russian roulette so that we both end up eating the hot one. Pick your path. 1, 2, or 3.
Let's do roulette, because let's share one. I don't love hot, but we'll give it a shot.
You're hopeful that you don't get it. You don't want to do this. Yeah. Okay, this one you can take with you in case you have a change of heart. If you're up for it, I would say we do the first pull of the trigger right now.
Okay.
All right. So it's a cool little store, though. And one of the things I really...
Do they sell these here? There?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things I hope to do with these videos is like...
5 cherry, 1 hot.
Stuff known that maybe people don't know about. And I was unfamiliar with 307 Exotics. So, okay. Ready?
I think I got cherry.
You think you got cherry? All right.
I think I got cherry.
I think I got cherry. Okay. Round 1. Neither of us drew the short straw. Okay. So one of the things, and you brought up, you're obviously really now super involved in the running scene in Casper, to the point where you just went and did pacing for a friend in Hawaii. I know you've done some pretty interesting races around Wyoming, et cetera. So can you maybe tell me a little bit about, were you a lifelong runner? When did you get into running? How has the Casper running scene been a part of that for you?
Yeah.
And if maybe somebody isn't familiar with the running scene in Casper, either because they haven't ran or they're runners from somewhere else, talk to us about Casper running.
So there's a couple clubs in town. My friend got me into running probably almost 10 years ago. 2015 was my first race.
Okay.
And right out of the gate was a half marathon. The very first run I ever did with him was up the Bridle Trail up on Casper Mountain.
So that seems like a very Casper way to take a friend running who's not a runner.
Yeah.
Maybe in the past,
You can hike it, you can run it.
Sure.
Such an awesome resource that we have in Casper. But yeah, so he took me up that, whipped my butt.
Is he someone you're otherwise competitive with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's this relationship of competitiveness.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh. And so we finished that, and I challenged myself. I was like, I want to be able to run all the way up the Bridle Trail without stopping. So that became a goal. And that's kind of how I started running. And then he challenged me to run the Casper half. So we started training for that, ran the Casper half. And then it all just kind of unwrapped from there.
How many years ago was that?
2015. So,
so you've been running for
almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years.
But I no running before that.
Okay.
Nothing in high school and stuff.
Yeah, I went out for track one year in high school because a bunch of track guys came out for swimming. And they said, oh, Nat, you're in great shape. Like, come run with us. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I maybe I need to give it another try.
Mm-hmm.
Running has never been fun for me.
Yeah.
So maybe I have to go with someone like you.
So it's funny you say that, because when he was getting me into running, I bought this book about like how running can be therapeutic.
Sure.
And,
What book?
I don't remember.
Don't remember. Okay.
And
I planted a seed anyway.
but it was like, it's so good for your mental health. It's relaxing. It's stress relief. And so before I had even started running, I read this book and I was like, this is the new me. I'm so excited. And then I went out for my first run and it was like horrible. And I was
My
like,
ass.
yeah. So, but I think those pains are figuring out like your pace.
Sure.
And even as a runner, like if you take 2 to 4 weeks off from being sick or you're on vacation, you lose a lot fast. So
Sure.
I think conditioning and getting into it definitely plays a role. But yeah, did my first half marathon. After that, you kind of get an itch and you're like, well, I can run a half marathon. I think I can go further. And so the next year I did a full marathon, completely walled out on that.
Okay.
Got to mile 22, 23 and thought
Walled out, i.e. like you died at some point.
had no clue what I was doing. Yeah, with nutrition.
Sure.
When I ran the half marathon, I never took any type of nutrition. It's just like
You just went.
push and go.
Yeah.
So my theory was, I'm going to run a whole marathon. The first 13 miles, I'm not going to take anything. And then when I get to 13, then I'll start taking nutrition. I did that and it was a horrible experience.
Okay.
But you're always finding what you can do, how you can push yourself. So did that. And then that's kind of how I got into, after that, I got into the Bighorn 30K, the 18 miler. My same friend, Matt, got me to do that.
So went backwards in mileage, but much more varied terrain.
Yeah, never did a trail run before.
Okay.
So we did that. The Bighorn's very well known in Wyoming.
Is that based out of Buffalo or Sheridan?
Sheridan, but you're running up through Dayton and Manchester.
Okay.
So and they have an 18 miler. They call it the 30K, the 50K. They have a 52 miler and a 100 miler. So they have 4 different distances you can do.
So you started with the shortest.
Yep.
All right.
And I loved it.
Sure.
And it kind of just turned me into a trail runner.
Okay.
I do run a little bit of road here and there, but I love trail. So after getting into trail running at the up at the Bighorn, I kind of started discovering people in the trail running scene out of Casper, and found the group called CUTRS, CUTRS, and it's Casper Ultra Trail Running Society.
And how many mad people are a part of the Casper Ultra Trail Running Society?
I can't give you an exact number, but
is it a secret club? You can't tell me?
No, I just don't know.
Okay.
It's not like we're registering each other or anything, but I would say maybe anywhere like 20, 30, maybe a little more. But we're such a close-knit group of runners. In the summer, we're always doing runs called Tuesday Night Trail Run. Usually for the T-Bird Trek for Casper College. They'll host one of the aid stations up on the mountain for those runners. And yeah, it's super cool. There's another running group in town, more road, I think, specific, and that's the Windy City Runners. I think it's Windy City Runners, yeah. And they do like a winter series, They host the Casper Marathon.
Okay.
One of the hosts of Casper Marathon. And I think they help out with the turkey trot for Thanksgiving every year too. So, yeah.
Do you find that it's a pretty easy community in Casper to connect into?
I think so. Yeah. Super welcoming. I think there's lots, like if you get into the running scene and you're seeing reels on Instagram and stuff, trail runners and road runners are a different breed.
Right.
But like, I don't know. They're both very welcoming.
I put runners into like this big pot, and in actuality, there's some like self-division. Amongst, not everybody's just a runner.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's not about who, especially when you're running with that group, it's no man left behind. It's not about how fast you are and how seasoned and conditioned you are. It's about just having a good time and enjoying each other's company.
So what do most runners do in Wyoming winter?
You run in the snow.
You run outside.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not the most fun. You bundle up, but I mean, it is nice to run in the cold because you can regulate your body temperature, whereas running in the heat in the summer, you can't.
Yeah.
So
you can only get so naked.
Yeah.
But you can always put on more layers.
But just the biggest caveat here is the wind. Like, you would think it's like forced air intake when you're running into it, and it actually steals the air from you. Like, it actually makes it
create
harder
this
to
low
breathe.
pressure environment around your face.
You have to like turn your head sideways to actually breathe and stuff.
I wouldn't have ever guessed that.
Yeah, but spikes, you want to wear spikes and stuff so you're not slipping around.
All right, I'm going to change gears, which means that we're going to take another.
How many are in a bag? 6?
6.
Okay.
So we'll be 2/3 of the way through the potential with these ones. All right, ready? Mine had a different texture.
Yours was crunchy.
Yeah. First one wasn't crunchy. I got the hot one. I did. Yeah.
You saved me.
I'm kind of glad that that's the case, because I would have felt really bad knowing you don't like hot stuff if you got it and then it ended up being stupid hot.
I see the sweat on your brow there.
Because I'm bald, this is going to be painfully obvious, everyone. I'm going to have like a vein that pops out here. Really quick, let's see if there's any of these drinks in here that you would find interesting, because I'm going to need one. Whew. Okay, so are you familiar with Faygo?
No.
Okay, I wasn't either, but I recently saw some information on Reddit about it. In keeping with our hot theme, we have strawberry habanero soda from 307 Exotics. Hope I'm getting that right. Hopfin, which is like a beer alternative. It's not really in a beer. It's just like, they said this one's really good. I don't know if you ever watched The Simpsons, but we've got Duff à l'orange cola, and then just a series of stuff. So if you want to try anything, feel free. I'm just going to grab what seems like it would actually maybe take some heat away. Whew.
The strawberry.
Yeah, so on a scale of 1 to 10, I think it's starting to come down. I would say this is probably like 6.
Do you like spicy?
Yeah, just pushed past comfortable. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, for anybody who tries those, I would say hot, but not like ruins the rest of your day.
Yeah, and the strawberry habanero is really good. It's pretty chill. It's not super hot.
It's not too hot?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so you mentioned Instagram on running. Let's talk about your Instagram, Mr. 20,000 followers strong.
Yeah.
Is that, so it's mostly photography. That now is a good time for us to maybe just let everybody know that professionally, it's Ben Winckler Photography and Wyoming Drone.
So I have 4 different avenues. So yeah, Ben Winckler Photography. That was my very first company. That's what I ran everything out of. And then I took some workshops and found that if you really want to dive into that sector of whatever you want to pursue, you should really just show that that's what you specialize in. So under Ben Winckler Photography, I used to have everything: weddings, families, seniors, real estate, architecture. And about 4 years ago, I split those all up. So there's Ben Winckler Photography. All right. That's for couples, engagements, elopements.
So the wall of Ben that is to my right, that is family pictures that we've used you for a long time on, that's under that umbrella.
That's under the, all same business, but that one's called Wyoming Portrait Photography.
Okay.
And then there's Wyoming Design Photography. That's for commercial real estate architecture. And then Wyoming Drone Services. And that really just, like, I use drone for all 4 of those things. Wyoming Drone Services is more for like a company that reaches out and they want to do like a one and done video shoot or an insurance claim, something like that.
Okay. Well, quick plug for you from my perspective. As far as my wife's concerned on the portrait side, as long as you're willing to continue taking pictures, there will never be another human, I'm sure, that she calls. And then I'll speak just on the real estate side of things. From my perspective, so many people today make the vast majority of their decisions about what they're going to buy on the residential space by that first glance online.
Yeah.
And across the spectrum, regardless of the price point, et cetera, I think that the quality of the pictures is really important. And especially as you get into some of the higher price points too, having somebody who's really good makes a huge difference. And so kudos to you. From my perspective, if you're not the best in Casper, you're certainly at the very top rung of being able to take really high quality photographs of a property that accurately portray it, but put it in the best light possible.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Some of my realtor friends call me the catfish. Just
dare I ask why?
just because I don't know if it's the lens or the lighting. I'm just always trying to show a property in its best light.
Sure.
And sometimes they say I get a little too carried away.
Although you don't do a ton of editing.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where
it's all in the before photos. It's spending a lot of time making sure.
If you can do that,
good.
that's just magic. I think where people get over showcasing a property wrong is in the editing side.
Yeah.
Where people come into the house and it ends up being a letdown because what they saw online is not at all what they walk into based off of editing.
Yeah.
And so they may have liked the property had they just walked into it, but because they fell in love with
the photos,
with the real catfishing, not Ben's version of catfishing.
Well, let's go back on catfishing. It's not photoshopping things and removing. It's all about lighting, angles, telling a story in the property to make to see what its potential is, zooming in and getting those detail shots. It's not like, because you can get in trouble in the real estate world for changing anything like that.
Yeah, and less than in trouble, I think it's just, or more than in trouble, I think it's just, it doesn't end up actually helping you sell the property.
Yeah.
Because people come in and they're disappointed.
Right.
So one of the things that you and I have talked about before that I'm super intrigued in terms of like a unique business that you're running inside of Casper is really the elopement piece.
Yeah.
So could you share a little bit about what that is?
So I found over the years, I love connecting with couples in epic locations.
Sure.
I love hiking. Of course, I love trail running. And I used to shoot a lot of traditional weddings. And by traditional weddings, that's a church, 200 plus guests. And not that I don't love those days. They just get, sometimes I think they get hectic.
Right.
And not stressful. So much about the couple. Yeah, stressful. And so I quit my full-time job. I think we'll call it 6 years ago. I don't know what the exact date is. And I had never invested in my own photography education. You have these, I had these full-time corporate jobs and they're always sending you out for continuing education on how to sell better or how to do your job better.
Right.
And so everything I had learned was self-taught, YouTube, Instagram.
YouTube, the great teacher of our generation.
YouTube is an incredible tool. And so there was a photographer, I swooned over his work. I loved it. He did workshops. So I went to Zion and got a little bit of taste of how he sets up his shoots. And he exclusively does adventure elopements is what they're called, and adventure couple shoots. So I went and did that, and I loved it. I love traveling personally. And after that, I kind of decided that's really what I want to push. And so I love connecting with I think I'm a funny personality.
Of course you are.
And that's who I want to go after.
So talk me, like, for somebody, we're talking about elopement, but I think until I actually looked at some of your photography relative to this, like, I
Yeah.
didn't really understand. So this is couple, instead of having the more traditional wedding,
Yep.
books with you,
Yep.
or maybe they've already booked where they want to go and they're inviting you to
Yep.
come along, and you're going with them to, like, what are some examples of places you've been?
So yeah, typically they already know where they want to go.
Okay.
And then they'll reach out to me as a lead, or they see me on Instagram or something like that, and they'll reach out when they want to go somewhere. And after that, it's almost like guiding a trip.
Yeah.
I'll have like someone will see. I've been to Iceland. I got to go to Iceland and Scotland, New Zealand. I have some other bucket list places I really want to go,
Cool.
but it's kind of cool having been there. You've experienced it. You know where you want to go, and you can kind of help guide them on where to go. And Iceland, as an example, I have a sheet where I'll send them all the locations I've been with photos of what it looks like.
So is Iceland where I saw some of your pictures where there were these, like, black geologic, like, obelisks,
Yeah.
like geometric patterned,
Yep.
like
Those are called
hexagonal.
basalt pillars.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
And it's something to do with how once it's lava,
Right.
the
As it
minerals
cools, it
around it
creates
as it
this-
cools. Yep.
Yeah.
And it mimics that mineral, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, Iceland is known for its contrast of color. They're dark blacks, they're vibrant greens, and then it's similar to us in their winters. All their green turns kind of yellow orange.
Sure.
But yeah, they've got just such a vast contrast. These huge cliffs that jut up out of the ground.
Very cool.
And so yeah, I love helping. I called it guiding earlier. I can help people like where I've stayed, the best places I've eaten.
Sure.
And then when we do go there, even though we're in separate cars, we still very much travel together. And it's fun. It's a fun little trip. You make lifelong friendships and relationships. And I've been fortunate enough to not only have I got leads to shoot in other countries, but it's been local referrals.
Oh, cool.
And I think there's probably 3 or 4 local couples that I've got to shoot internationally.
Local
and
being to Casper.
Local to Casper, yeah.
Okay.
And it's so cool.
Yeah.
Things you would have, I mean, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, I would have never thought.
Right.
I don't know. The world's just small.
Yeah. So this is sort of like the passion that your business is. Again, you're doing the other stuff still.
Yep.
But this is the direction that you're
Yeah.
like really moving.
Having
in
a
terms
wife
of
and 2
energy.
kids.
Yeah. Travels a little more.
Yeah. When
a
I
little more
first started
difficult.
doing it like 5 or 6 years ago, I was like, I'm going to travel all year long. And then I went out on like 2 back-to-back trips and was gone for 2 weeks. And I got back and my wife was like, this isn't going to work. And because she's a full-time teacher. So, and I really miss my kids. So
Right.
I've kind of put a expectation of going out and shooting internationally 4 times a year if I can.
Okay.
And then sticking around and shooting more local. There's still local elopements in Wyoming and nearby, and I'll still shoot like micro weddings and stuff.
If Iceland, as an example, was the location, are they typically spending time on the front end and or back end without you? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a couple from Casper that I just went and photographed early November, and we all flew in at the same time, same flight, and got the elopement and all their photos done that first couple days, and then I kind of peel off, and they went and enjoyed Iceland for another 2 weeks. So, and like I said, the guiding process, I'll give them ideas and even if we're not shooting there, what places I've loved and seen, or I haven't got to go see and they should. And yeah, I mean, budgets are so flexible and moldable. You can spend as much as you want if you want to get like eloped in an ice cave on an ice tour, or take a helicopter tour, or we can keep it low budget and drive to all the places that we go to, and we don't need to hire experts to get us there. So
very cool. Ben Winckler 85 on Instagram.
Ben Winckler Photography. My personal one's B. Winckler 85.
Okay.
Yep.
Ben Winckler Photography. And how far booked out are you on something like an elopement if somebody wanted to use you for that? Like, could you still do something in 25 or are you now
Oh
looking
yeah,
at
yep.
people
I
at
still have
26?
time. Weddings have kind of changed since COVID.
Yeah.
Your books were usually filled up a year or two in advance.
Okay.
And I don't know what it is, but it's been more like last minute bookings
Hey,
for me.
we're getting married next month. Do you have an availability?
Maybe not that short, but like
Okay.
within 6 months, they'll be like, hey, we want to get married in 6 months versus I feel like pre-COVID, people were booking
Planning
out
way
2
out.
years in advance, a year to 2 years in
Interesting.
advance. So,
Interesting.
but still have time this year. I've got
Very
a couple trips planned this year for Iceland and Scotland, and I still have. I'd love to do two more big trips. So
That sounds like a really awesome mix of a profession that you found yourself attracted to, starting your own business, and this passion of travel being able to like coincide. All right, so one of the reasons I want to do some of this content with people like you is really talk. I like to think of myself as one of Casper's biggest cheerleaders, having moved here. I think Casper's a wonderful community, and I came here kind of skeptical. Happy to be here, but I wasn't sure that this is where I would have picked to have moved next, and my wife's job came here. So I like to talk about Casper and what people like you perceive. And so maybe we could start with, you grew up in Casper.
Yep.
How have you seen Casper change in your life?
it has grown so much. Went to NC, graduated from NC, went to Casper College, worked at Max's Honda in college before it turned to Honda of Casper, and then I moved over to Lamar and started doing photography. But it blows, especially now being in photography and real estate, it is insane how fast Casper is growing with the amount of houses that we're building. And I think it's changed quite a bit, but for the better. I love, we have such a supportive community. The more people you know, the more, it is such a small community, and everyone gets along so well. And I think it's such a wonderful place to start a business. There's so many
You felt like you were supported in starting your photography business.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. I don't know, it's such a wonderful place to be an entrepreneur or a business owner, like a small business owner. There's so much small business love here. And I think we're so tied in to support local. And I think that's easy to get away from because Amazon makes it easy. Walmart makes it easy. But I think it makes it fun to always try and consider like shopping local. Like for this logo, for instance, I could have got on Fiverr or like Canva and tried to put something together with AI. But being able to get a hold of Scarlett over it, she does her own thing and works at Loom. And she busted this out in less than 24 hours. She's so talented at what she does. So I love Casper. What's that?
Shout out to Scarlett.
Yeah. Nice job, Scarlett.
One of the things I've noticed even just since I lived here is really how the downtown corridor has changed. From my perspective, that was huge. And I don't know if everybody perceives it this way, but I feel like you can tell a lot about a community by how its downtown is. And even when I moved here, there was kind of this push for downtown stuff, but we really saw it there right before the eclipse, just, tens of millions of dollars get invested between
oh my gosh,
David Street and private money into businesses. And do you agree that downtown change has made a pretty significant difference in the feel?
I think Yellowstone District's crushing it. Just seeing the renovations that are going on downtown, David Street Station, like you said, the Nolan Townhomes are beautiful. Blacktooth Brewery, and then they just opened that new financial office right next door.
I think maybe Merrill Lynch, or I don't recall, but yes.
I love how they hang on to the old downtown vibe. One of my clients, Lyle Murtha over at State Line Architecture, does such a good job of tying old in with new. He'll never, if he's renovating a building, it's never from the ground up. He always ties in like he's doing your old office, for instance, and tore the walls down, and there's such beautiful brick behind those walls, and he hangs onto that wood floor, and he just keeps like that character in there. And so he was one of the people that did, he designed the David Street station, and I just love the raw material look of it. But in general, the development of downtown is so cool. There's another apartment complex going on downtown.
And I'm really excited for that. I think that's going to make a really big difference. Even as all of that development was happening downtown over the course of the past, basically almost decade, there was still kind of this chicken or egg thing where a lot of the businesses still closed at 5.
Yeah.
And if you worked, like, you could leave work right at 5 and try to go to, and shout out to the 307 folks again, like they were open until 7. So I could go after work. Like, I really look forward to there being a larger populace of people who live like right downtown in that apartment building.
Yeah. And yeah, I do love when businesses are open downtown later, but it also has that like small town vibe.
It does.
Like you're
sorry. Yeah.
I mean,
we're
for my
open
convenience.
From here.
Yeah, for my convenience, I wish they were open later, but at the same time, it's like, this is such a Casper thing. It's such a Wyoming thing.
True. Yeah. If you want to shop with us, you can just come before 5.
Before 5, yeah. And
because that's when we go home too.
Yeah. We get to see our family and kids too. Yeah.
I think one of the things that coming to Casper, so I didn't grow up in Casper, but I grew up in Wyoming, and everybody came to Casper for sporting events. So I'd been to Casper a lot, but I think I'd only really come, like we would go to the event center. There was a stop at Walmart to buy stuff that our small town didn't have, and then like back home. I was really amazed at how much I love Casper Mountain. And one of the ways I describe it to a lot of clients, if they're moving to Casper, is I call it mountain light. Like, by Wyoming standards, it's not a huge mountain.
Correct.
Right. But there's so many amenities that almost from anywhere in Casper, 12, 15 minutes, you can be almost anywhere on the mountain. Everything from biathlon, cross-country skiing, actual skiing, hiking trails. You mentioned the bridle trail. I think it's so great to have that resource just right here to scratch that itch. Right? If you want to go do the 4-day ski vacation in Jackson or wherever, that's great. But it's also really cool, especially I appreciated this after having a 10-year-old, is being able to, on a great snow day, go up and do a half day until people are tired or cold or whatever, and not feel bad about just leaving after a half day. Do you do a lot on the mountain?
I do quite a bit on the mountain. I do downhill skiing. We've really got into the cross-country classic and skate skiing scene.
You and your wife?
And kids.
And kids.
Ellie and Dakota and Rachel, they all do it. And I have heard from many people on our cross-country, on our Nordic trails up there, that we have some like world-class terrain up there.
Interesting.
And we have so much up there, waiting for snow. We really only get like the inner and outer maze loop up there. But we finally got some snow and it opens up everything else. And we've got a state-of-the-art biathlon track. And I mean, we just got that basically brand new resort up there, the Horgadon Resort. And we've got great downhill skiing. Again, we need snow for it, but
it's not been a great year for that yet.
When my wife first moved here, she's from Seattle in Spokane. This was the very first ski resort she's ever been to where you have to ski down the hill to get because you park at the top.
You park at the top. It's the first one I'd ever been to like that as well.
But yeah, we have so many resources on Casper. As a runner, we've got Bridle Trail, a little harder in the winter. It's definitely got more popular over the years. I would say maybe 5 or 6 years ago, there was really no snowpack on Bridle Trail.
There wasn't enough traffic for it to get packed.
Yeah, you were just post-holing is what we call it, like knee-deep snow to get up and down it. But I mean, this year, up until just a couple weeks ago, I would say, and I haven't been up there yet, it's packed down so well, and you can still run it through the winter.
Without going through the extra work of 2 feet up to knees. And then, you can run up. It's not the safest. We don't have a path, but you can run up and down the mountain.
There's plenty of roads up there. In the summer, it's just as far as you could think. I mean, we've got so much road and trail up there. And there's been a lot of development up in that Nordic area there.
Sure.
In the summer, there's been a lot of trail development and stuff too.
Are you
So
involved with, on the summer side of things, fat fish at all? Do you do any
I
mountain
used
bike
to.
racing?
Yeah. Especially when one of my friends lived here. He's an avid mountain biker. But then I don't know, you get older, you get busier, you have
Yeah.
a wife and kids, and you can only do as much as you can in a day. So I
true.
haven't, but it's a great resource. It's such a great program. They've got kids races and adult races. They split it up between beginner, intermediate, and expert.
Yeah, I went to a few. It was real. I think I went into it a little bit nervous about there being a lot of pressure around how quickly I went. Or at least I was putting that pressure on myself.
No, such a welcoming community.
And it was super welcoming. I mean, like everybody was sitting around barbecuing and like, it was like a party before. And then I think I participated in the basically like go at your own speed group.
Yeah.
And I was not at all a great mountain biker, but I felt like I kind of came in middle of pack.
Yeah.
And it was a really fun experience.
Yeah, I loved it when I did it. I've got a mountain bike. I just don't have time for everything, but I loved going up. They do such a good job of organizing it. They have, awards after everyone, and then you're more than welcome to hang out and have a brewski or sparkling water or whatever you want. And some people even like cook. Yeah. Have like a tailgate barbecue or something. But yeah, it's a really cool resource that we have.
Have you seen the new lodge at the cross country?
Yeah,
Have you been up to it yet?
It's not open yet.
Okay.
The exterior's done. I don't think it's supposed to. The interior is still being finished.
Okay.
But I don't think it's supposed to open until this spring of 2025.
I thought for some reason it was going to be open this winter, but in either case, it's not open yet.
Yeah.
It looks pretty awesome.
It looks beautiful. It's going to be awesome. Especially, I mean, we loved the cabin that we had up there.
Sure.
But this is going to be way bigger. We're going to get our parking lot back.
Right.
Everyone's kind of like dispersed over the lower parking lot in Bear Trap. But yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a great, even for possibly like more weddings and stuff up there in the summer and stuff.
Sure. For you, there's some other interest in that facility also.
A tiny bit of change of subject. I remember downtown. Yeah. I grew up playing violin my whole life since I was 3 and a half.
Actually, one of the ways we connected
was through the symphony.
Was through the symphony.
Yep. So I played in the symphony for a long time. I think between 16 plus years, maybe 18.
Wow.
And they don't have a home yet. They do play at Natrona County High School's auditorium.
Beautiful.
Beautiful auditorium. They just renovated it. But, there's really not a specific home for fine arts.
Sure.
And so by fine arts, I mean like symphony, ballet, things like that. And we're either housed at Natrona County High School, or if it's a bigger thing like the Nutcracker for Christmas or Mannheim Steamroller that always comes in, it's up at the event center.
Right.
And ideally, that's not perfect.
Sure. It's a big space for that.
So another thing I'm excited to see get finished and buttoned up is the Lyric downtown.
Absolutely.
And it's right across the street from Davis Street Station.
Of course. Yeah.
And that'll be a really cool space for not just the symphony. I don't think people know how much work goes into acoustics and audio for symphonies. There's sound clouds, the way the room's shaped. And so it'll be exciting to see it come through.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm really excited for the Lyric project to get done as well. And one of the things that kind of highlighted that to me recently was the sports ranch. When I was happy the sports ranch was happening.
Yep.
But I suppose I was a little bit skeptical that it would be super highly utilized.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to be wrong.
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen any of the initial reports or anything, but I was amazed initially to hear, that not only were they were booking so far ahead of where they thought they were going to be able to have initially booked. And their first weekend event was a volleyball promoter out of Florida was bringing in East Coast teams and West
Yeah.
Coast teams to play.
Yep.
I would have never guessed that sort of thing would be an option. And it's really opened, in my eyes, the possibility to, I think the lyric needs to happen either way, but I'm a lot more open to the idea of what other things might happen in Casper if
Yeah.
that sort of facility was created.
Yeah, I put myself in the same boat. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was sour, like how fast the sports ranch got funded.
Sure.
And I was like, we have so many outdoor facilities. Like
Yeah.
everyone's complaining about more softball courts and tennis courts.
Right.
And but then like you have to take a step back. And I'm excited. Like there's so much business that sports ranch is going to bring to Casper.
It's really incredible.
And stimulate. And then if I thought about it, I was like, well, we really don't have an outdoor or an indoor space for sports. I mean,
They
the
made it
event
work at the
center,
event center.
like I just said for Mannheim and stuff, but
events, yeah.
that's really not a home for indoor sports for like kids like soccer and baseball. So I'm excited that what that will bring to Casper. Even more tourism.
Sure.
Out of town and out of state
Yeah.
sports. But yeah, I'm very excited to see where the lyric goes. And back to community. I mean, we have so much, so many. What's the word? Philanthropists in town.
Right. Most giving city in America.
Oh my gosh, you're not kidding.
6 years running or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
like I mean, just look at the name on the walls when you go to like the sports ranch or, you know,
YMCA
I was taking pictures of David Street Station last year and I really hadn't taken the time to look at detail. And if you look at the pillars down the middle of David Street Station, all the donors' names are etched in that metal.
Sure.
And you'll almost always see the same names supporting our community. And it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it really is. It's one of the main things I noticed as a differentiation between, I moved to Casper from Cheyenne. And so much of Wyoming, there's this emphasis on whether or not the state can afford to fund the thing that the community wants. And it was a breath of fresh air in Casper to see, and David Street Station was probably the first thing that opened my eyes to it. State didn't have money.
Yeah.
And the community just rallied
Stepped
to
in.
make it happen.
Yeah.
Really cool. So you're from Casper originally. We're talking right now about a lot of the great things about Casper. Why have you stayed in Casper? Right, you had options. You at various points could have chose to go somewhere else.
Yeah, we've talked
What
about
keeps you
moving. Ultimately, a few things. Family.
Sure.
My wife's parents live here. That's a huge support group.
Right.
Not only do you get to see them often, but we've got kids.
Yeah.
And
I tell people all the time, I don't know what the dollar value is on my parents having decided to move to Casper after we had a kid.
Yeah.
Like how much money that saved me in
Yeah.
babysitters or my ability to go do an appointment because I didn't have a babysitter lined up.
Yep.
Somebody wants to go see a house and my mom's around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, growing up here, my grandma watched us. I mean, I have so many memories of my grandma watching us when my parents needed them to, and I loved having a close relationship with her. I loved her, and you can close your eyes and still like smell the house and everything. And so it's cool that our kids get that with our grandparents here, because I know some families, grandparents live out of town, they don't get to see them as much. So families for sure, one of them. Community. I found that even though I want to move into this adventure elopement sector and shoot internationally, it really doesn't matter where you live.
Where you're located.
And one of the things I find fascinating, the more I travel, the more places I see, there are so many landscapes in Wyoming that share those same characters, characteristics.
For sure.
And that's incredible to me. There's so many places in Wyoming I still haven't been.
Right.
Just this last summer, I was doing a photo shoot up in Kemmerer.
Kemmerer/Diamond.
Yeah. Supposedly the home to JCPenney, the first JCPenney.
Yes, true. This is true.
Didn't know that when I went there. But on my way back home, there's this huge one of the biggest sand dune areas in the world. And just miles and miles of sand dunes. And I finally decided to go out there and check it out. And it looks similar to
Like what
other
you-
sand dune areas.
Right.
So lots of places that we can go. And then lastly, I've just built such a close relationship to the running community here in the CUTRS. So
The
yeah.
CUTRS, the secret club.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if I inherited millions of dollars, we might move. But
Is that forthcoming?
no.
No,
Well, I mean,
okay.
I think in order to, you have to buy a ticket, and I never do. So yeah.
Cool. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to have this discussion with me.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
And anything you want to highlight about your business, anything like that before we wrap up for today?
I do say that I'm pushing into that elopement,
Sure.
couples, adventure, engagement scene. But I'm still very much in Casper.
Right.
So I probably don't advertise it as much, but I'm still doing family photography. I still do seniors, high school seniors. And then something else I'm working on, once I'm getting a new website built with Chelsea Coombe.
Okay.
She's helping me with my Ben Winckler Photography website. Once we're wrapped up with that, I want to get my new website out for real estate and architecture, interior design, commercial, things like that. So yeah, just if all you see is couples engagements, elopements, that's not
That's
only
not all you do.
the only thing I specialize in.
Yeah.
So.
Wyoming, I think every community in Wyoming, it's really tough to be all the way specialized. There's
Yeah.
just not enough of
Yeah.
any individual piece of that work to be.
Maybe, yeah, in like a more metro area,
Sure.
or, Casper, Wyoming is tourist,
Right.
but Casper's not crazy. Like
Yeah.
if you compared it to Jackson or
Sure.
something,
Yeah.
we don't have people flying in by the plane loads to come check out.
Specifically to see Casper.
Yeah.
More
yeah.
of a weekend along your journey
Yeah.
that's usually spent here.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of the Casper
Yeah.
community.
Thank you,
Really
dude.
appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.